Trans Mountain has got lots of sticks in the ground, but not a whole lot of pipe. Let's try and keep it that way. I'm Peter McCartney, the climate campaigner for the Wilderness Committee. I've just got back from a trip up the pipeline route, and that means it's time for another construction update. Starting at the Westridge Marine Terminal, Trans Mountain has been working on the tunnel portal, which they expect to be done by the end of November. The big drill is due to show up mid-September, but they won't start tunneling under Burnaby Mountain until the end of the year. At the company's tank farm, they're preparing pads for the 14 tanks they plan to add, while the mountain protectors are monitoring their work from the nearby watch house. Between the highway and railway north of the Brunette River Conservation Area, the company needs to clear a whole section of forest around Lost and Holmes Creeks. It's right in the middle of a riparian area, so they need to work in a window of least risk to fish between August 1st and September 15th, or they could be delayed an entire year. Along United Boulevard and Hartley Avenue in Coquitlam, the company wants to install 2.5 kilometers of pipeline this summer, including 4 crossings below existing infrastructure. They've also moved their stockpile site from New Westminster to the end of King Edward Street. At the start of September, Trans Mountain plans to start drilling under the Fraser River just north of the Portman Bridge. They will start in an area between the rail yard and Highway 17 in Surrey, but Colony Farm in Coquitlam will host most of the equipment. Trans Mountain also wants to build 2.5 kilometers of pipeline along Golden Ears Way in Surrey this summer, and clear trees near Loren Brook Creek in Greenbelt Park. In Chilliwack, the company is preparing another stockpile site on Cheam First Nation reserve land between Industrial Way and the Fraser River. All along the route, more or less from the Fraser Valley northwards, Trans Mountain has survey stakes marking the route for its pipeline expansion in pink. You can tell by the TMEP written along the side. There's very little actual clearing done in British Columbia so far, but that's due to start mid-August. Trans Mountain is expanding an existing stockpile site on Laidlaw Road near Hope to include a laydown yard to hold other equipment. And on Squahamel Reserve land, a little further north but still east of Highway 1, the First Nation is building a man camp for Trans Mountain, which will host workers building the pipeline throughout the Fraser Valley. Here's another one we're watching closely. Trans Mountain needs to get all their clearing done on the Coquihalla Summit before the snowpack becomes too heavy to work. They plan to start on August 18th and will have to clear a whole new route through the recreation area. In Merritt, they completed a stockpile site this spring and started work on Man Camp on the Tudor Ranch property east of town. Nothing much has changed at the Kamloops stockpile site on the south side of the river. And on the north side along Tranquil Road, there's been all sorts of survey stakes in the ground since March, but no actual construction yet. Trans Mountain does want to start drilling under the Thompson River later this month. In Clearwater, they've made some progress on a man camp west of Dutch Lake. That's the one that's applied for a liquor license. And at their stockpile site in Vavenby, they're also expanding to include a new construction yard. In Blue River, the Tiny House Warriors have successfully kept the company from starting construction on its man camp in this clearing. Trans Mountain recently postponed its planned opening until at least March. Lots of work has started on infrastructure sites in Valemount. It's the only place in BC where they've got a camp up and running, along with a stockpile site and yard. This seems the likeliest place for construction to start in earnest in the province. Trans Mountain is getting ready to drill under the McLeod River east of Edson. This is what a horizontal directional drilling operation looks like, and is one of several in Alberta. They've got a lot of their road accesses and sporadic stretches of the route cleared between Edson and Edmonton, especially, it seems, in wetland areas that require extra measures to be taken. So far, the only actual pipe in the ground is about 30 kilometers within an existing utility corridor in Edmonton, along the southern portion of the Anthony Henday. And that's about all there is to report so far for construction on the proposed Trans Mountain pipeline. It definitely seems like things will be heating up in the coming months, but we've said that before. If you want to download the pipeline route and infrastructure sites to follow along in the Google Maps app on your phone, get in touch with me at peter@wildernesscommittee.org. Thanks for tuning in.